tonight I went to watch Blacklight with Liam Neeson in it. I put up a reaction to the trailer. I actually filmed that reaction about a month ago. And then as it showed up, for like being able to buy the tickets, I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead. I feel like this is going to be your typical Liam Neeson action film. It's not going to be that great. But, it's got to be better than Moonfall, right? And so I decided to just go ahead and watch it. I guess I wouldn't say that I regret watching it, but honestly, you guys, this is not a very good movie. And it's a shame, too, because I know that Liam Neeson has said that he's quitting action movies, I think. Like I mentioned in the trailer video that I put up, I don't know if he said just movies altogether or action movies. And honestly, it's a good thing because he's getting to be at that age where it's not working so well. And there were references to his age in here because that was the character he was playing anyway. So, it fit in that regard. But watching his performance in here was almost a little painful because this really wasn't his strongest role. The concept was sort of interesting. It was basically, when I came away from this thinking, well, it had potential, but ultimately in the execution of it fell flat, and that's, it's unfortunate that happened. So the premise is, and I realized as I'm filming this that I completely forgot to lay out the premise for Death on the Nile when I did the review for that. Oh, what the heck? I was like, what? Anyway, so I'll just kind of go over the premise, which you've already seen in the trailer, and I'll tell you that the trailer makes the movie look better than it really is. So there's that. The premise is he's this guy who does this sort of what's the word? Not really black ops. I can't think of the right word to describe what he is. He's like this super undercover secret sort of agent type that does these sort of illicit types of jobs for this guy who's like the director of the FBI or something like that. And illicit, like they're not really officially sanctioned. He works sort of, it's like an under the table. That's not even really the right, like when you get paid under the table, it's that type of scenario where he's doing this work. It's hidden and it's not officially sanctioned, like I said, but he's been doing it for years. He's good at it. He has OCD. That does come up multiple times in the movie. The relationship that he has, like in the trailer, you can tell he's got this strained relationship with his daughter. He wants to be a better grandfather than he was a father. It puts strain on the family and his marriage. And then he's trying to get out of the business, but the director of the FBI or whatever, I think it was the director of the FBI, whatever, he's in the FBI. He's played by Aidan Quinn. He doesn't want to let him go, and so there's this friction between them because of that, and he finds out about stuff that Aidan Quinn was doing that he didn't even know about, and taking out innocent people and stuff like that, because that sort of, it starts off with a bang, pretty much. I mean, and you find out that the bad guy, you find out that Aidan Quinn's character was behind the stuff that had been happening. And it was kind of funny because in one of the early scenes, there's this person who gets killed. And if you've watched as many movies as I have, it's coming. And there were some people in the audience that reacted like they'd never seen a movie before. It was just like there were literal and loud exclamations of shock and surprise when this particular thing happened. And I was like, have you never watched a movie? What was that about? Like, I'm not kidding you. It was really loud. It was so loud I thought it was something from the movie, but no, it was the people in the row in front of me. Anyway, it was funny. I noticed that. But uh, also another problem with this is that everything it's too stereotypical and over the top and extreme, and the bad guys are super extremely bad, and the good guys are these, well, I wouldn't say, like, not necessarily in quotes, but the good guys, they've got their sort of little cliche type narrative and actions and all this stuff, and it just didn't work, unfortunately. I mean, you had this reporter, she's doing her investigation stuff. Honestly, I almost feel like her storyline was a little bit more interesting-ish than the storyline that we were seeing through Liam Neeson's eyes. But that's not really saying a lot in reality. The whole thing just kind of fell flat. There weren't even really super exciting or awesome action scenes. I mean, there was a chase scene that involved a dump truck that was kind of like, okay, well, that wasn't too bad. That might have been the highlight of the movie. Honestly, the narratives in here, they weren't really subtle. Like I said, things extreme, over the top. Of course, you have the people with the Confederate flag, and there are these rednecky, extremey dudes with rifles and stuff. Just basically, these typical sort of presentation of bad people. It just felt over the top. And that wasn't even part of the main storyline. That was just basically showing what he did, because he was going in there. What he does is, I remember now, he goes in and he recovers deep undercover agents who have kind of gotten lost in their mission, and they get in trouble because they're just so deeply embedded into it that they kind of lose themselves. So that was what that whole scene was about. He goes in there and rescues her from this group of Confederate type gun people and everything. And anyway, it would just, it's just the stereotypical stuff, the extreme sort of, or the in-your-face narratives about stuff, and it just felt like a caricature, just like a cartoon sort of portrayal of these bad guy types. I don't know. It's hard to put it into words. I think you would maybe get what I'm saying if you watch it. I mean, as down as I'm talking about this film, I don't regret seeing it, but I regret watching it on the big screen, because I think this would have been, honestly, this should have been something that just went direct to theater. I mean, listen to me. This should have been something that went direct to digital. I'm surprised that this actually came to the big screen, because it just doesn't feel big screen worthy. And it's not often that I say that, because I do like the big screen experience the best. But this was something that I could have watched at home on the smaller screen and been completely fine, because it wasn't like there was great cinematography and great action sort of sequences that would have been fully appreciated, that you couldn't appreciate fully unless you watched it on the big screen. It wasn't really like that. So anyway, also Aidan Quinn, his performance in here wasn't so great. He almost just kind of seemed like he was, I don't know, what's the word? It just seemed like he was checked out of any sort of connection to his character. Like he was just basically I don't know. It wasn't very good. It also, like I said, for Liam, it wasn't his strongest performance. What else? Oh, I know what else I was going to say. Maybe to kind of wrap this up, is that surprisingly, the person who directed this, okay, he's the same guy that directed An Honest Thief, which I like that one probably better than this one. And I didn't really like Honest Thief all that great. I think he also directed The Marksman with Liam Neeson in it. I have not seen that movie yet. I do plan to watch it because I watch a lot of stuff with him in it, even if it's bad. I just, I like Liam Neeson. It's just, silly fun, but whatever. But this guy that directed this movie, I think he was also involved in the writing and, the writing of the story, but he is also either the writer or one of the writers of Cop Shop, which was a really good movie, except for this one little thing that happened. Well, could be considered pretty major, but it was something that happened at the end of Cop Shop that I was like, what? That's like the only negative mark against it for me. But overall, I really enjoyed Cop Shop. That was a very smartly written story. And it was a good, solid, it was surprisingly good to me. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. And this guy also wrote 2 episodes of Ozark. I don't know if I've seen those episodes that he wrote, but it just it was surprising that the writing in here was as weak as it was, given the fact that he's written other stuff that's pretty decent. But I guess it shouldn't be that surprising. Writers don't always hit a home run in their work. Look at Stephen King. He's got some great books, but he also has some stinkers. So just because a writer has written some excellent stories doesn't mean they're always going to. And unfortunately, this is one of those times where it's not solid storytelling. The characters aren't super interesting. A lot of stuff feels rather cliche. The ending felt a bit anticlimactic. It was also the way Aidan Quinn's character was, like, he would capitulate and give in too easily, when things came to a head. And it surprised me that, it was like, okay, all he had to do was just be threatened with a gun, and then, okay, he's going to do what you want. But when his character up to that point never really came across as somebody that would be like that. So in that regard, it felt pretty anticlimactic when the final showdown happened between him and Aidan Quinn's character. It was more climactic before that, when, like this scene right here. This was like a showdown he had with Aidan Quinn's goons or whatever, and that was more drawn out and more intense and actiony than what happened between him and Aidan Quinn's character. Maybe because they're both kind of, on up there, and they're not really suited for super intense high action fight scenes, or maybe Aidan Quinn just didn't want to do a fight. I don't know what the heck, but his character wasn't really that type, though. He was more of a desk man by that point. So anyway, whatever. I feel like I'm rambling at this point. This film wasn't so great. I probably won't watch it again. It certainly is one of Liam's weaker action entries, and that's unfortunate. But I thought that I heard that there was another action-y film with him coming out this year, but I might be mistaken. I still haven't seen the Ice Road movie. I don't know how good that'll be. I think maybe it'll be a little bit better than this one, though. I don't know. Maybe Ice Road should have gone to the big screen instead of directly to Netflix, but oh well. That's it. Those are my thoughts for the movie Blacklight, and I don't think I have anything else to say. If you guys have checked it out, which I kind of doubt most of you will, because I feel like this movie's not going to perform very well at the box office. But if you watch it, let me know what you think. I don't feel like I'm alone in my perception of this story. I kind of feel like, most of the time when you've watched enough movies, read enough stories, you know when something's good and you know when something's bad, even though you can't always put it in the best words to explain it. You just kind of know it when you see it. And this is unfortunately one of those times where I instinctively knew this wasn't a very good movie. But maybe part of the reason why I rated it, I actually rated this 2 stars out of 5, surprisingly, higher than Moonfall, even though Moonfall had better visual effects or whatever, action-y sequences. I think the reason for that is because I went into it expecting that it wouldn't be very good, so I didn't have any sort of expectation at all. And so I didn't feel let down as a result. I'm just kind of like, well, that's not good. I didn't think it would be all that great. So, and the 2 stars are probably just for Liam. You know, sentimental rating for Liam. Anyway, I guess that's it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for now, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.